His name is Alex Jones. He's a hugely influential, to many people a very dangerous conspiracy theorist who's made himself hugely rich peddling a lot of lies. This is what happened when we met last, debating gun laws a decade ago on CNN.
How many gun murders were there in Britain?
How many great white sharks
how many
kill people every year, but they're scared to swim? And I'm here to tell you, 1776 will commence again if you try to take our firearms. But you've got hordes of people burning down cities and beating old women's brains out every day.
Let's try again. How many gun murders were there?
Oh, you're going to ban your fist now?
In Britain last year.
How many chimpanzees can dance on the head of a pin?
Well, I've not spoken to Alex Jones in an interview format since that day. He is now, I would say comfortably, the world's most notorious conspiracy theorist. As I say, I defend everybody's right to an honestly held opinion. I defend everyone's right to use words of their choice, but that doesn't mean they're not accountable for those words. And I don't think Alex Jones necessarily trades in honestly held opinions, but we'll come to that when I talk to him. Very few tragedies have ever moved me the way that Sandy Hook did. I was on air at CNN at the time that story broke. 20 children, aged between 6 and 7, were murdered by a lunatic with a semi-automatic rifle. Alex Jones told his many followers within a few hours it was all a hoax, a government hoax, a deep state plot to justify seizing guns. He said that the grieving families were actors.
The general public doesn't know the school was actually closed the year before. They don't know they've shielded all, demolished the building. They don't know that they had the kids going in circles in and out of the building as a photo op, blue screen, green screens. But it took me about a year with Sandy Hook to come to grips with the fact that the whole thing was fake. I mean, even I couldn't believe it. I knew they jumped on it, used the crisis, hyped it up, but then I did deep research, and my gosh, it just pretty much didn't happen.
Well, it did happen. Those children did get murdered. They were riddled with bullets by an AR-15 semi-automatic rifle. I can't even imagine, as a father of 4 kids, what that sight must have looked like. Those parents had to see their children riddled with bullets. And then they had to put up with years of harassment and threats and disgraceful incidents because Alex Jones fueled a conspiracy theory almost immediately that the whole thing was fake and that these parents who were grieving for their dead children, that they were actors. I have made my views clear about that. But I also think that it's right that I should interview him tonight. He wanted to come on and talk to me and to explain what's gone down here and where he's found himself, which is facing a $1.5 billion payout to the families in various lawsuits that they took. And I do believe that people should be allowed to express themselves as long as they're held to account and they're challenged on that. And that's what we're going to do tonight with Alex Jones. So my guest tonight is Alex Jones. He's over in Texas in America. Alex, good evening to you.
Piers, it's good to be here with you after 10 years and the biggest news event on CNN in 2013. So the circle is now complete. But you just spent 8 minutes saying a lot of things that were true, a lot of things that weren't true. So I'd like to address that right now if I can. When I came on your show months and months after Sandy Hook, in the CNN studios in New York, I never said it didn't happen. I never sent people to their houses. When the internet went totally viral in the next year, questioning it with anomalies, I did cover 23 minutes is what they introduced in court over the next few years, a few times. We're talking 5-6 shows. What the internet was questioning on my call-in radio show with a document cam on air. But I did not build my career off Sandy Hook. I barely, not even 1/10% covered it. And so to say that I sent people to harass families or
I didn't say that.
peed on the graves of the
I
children.
didn't say that. I didn't say you sent anyone to do anything. No, but Alex, look, I want to have a Alex. I want to have a reasonable. Let me just say, I want to have a reasonable conversation. I don't want to get into the screaming match that descended into last time. I think that's futile for everyone watching. You are now a very infamous person around the world. You know that. A lot of people know about you, what they've read, most of it negative. This is your chance to explain what's happened and to, if you want to, express remorse for things that you've got wrong and done wrong. You find yourself in a very bad place right now. You're paying out potentially $1.5 billion to these families. You've said that you don't have that money. You can't pay that money. So far, you haven't paid any of the money. How do you feel, first of all, about the fact that you faced this gigantic, victory for the families and defeat for you?
Okay, so you did 8 minutes and 45 seconds attacking me. I got 30 seconds. I will answer your question in a moment, but I want to get something completely straight. I came on your show months and months and months and months after it happened. I blamed the serotonin reuptake inhibitors, the antidepressants. I blamed the mother getting him the gun on your show. So the claim that I first questioned Sandy Hook, or I first did it, was a bunch of professors and a bunch of media people. It became a huge story. I looked at it and said, yeah, we've seen WMDs in Iraq. We've seen Operation Northwoods. We see Jussie Smollett. Later, we see now admitted in the Twitter files that they had thousands of fake doctors online saying the shot was safe and effective and protected you, something you've come out and said was wrong and was a lie. So I always questioned every major event, but I did not make my bones on Sandy Hook. I barely covered it on your show months and months and months after it happened.
Here's what I would say to you.
I did not cover it long after.
Listen, you may well categorize this as a very small part of your career. Unfortunately for you, it's now become this gigantic part of your career because of the nature of this payout. So
That's totally true. So let me respond to your question.
Is simply to ask you, what did you feel about the size of the payout you've been ordered to pay and the fact that you suffered one of the biggest losses of any lawsuit of that nature in modern history?
Well, I mean, it's not one of the biggest, it's the biggest. And so if you actually want the inside baseball and know what actually went on, I'm really happy to tell you.
Well, I'm more interested, Alex, in how you built this empire, and I'm going to come to how you built it in a moment. You built this empire as a very provocative, many would argue they found you very entertaining as well, high energy, mischief-making shock jock, for want of a better phrase, who went on the airwaves and said a lot of very controversial things and built up a very big following and made a vast amount of money doing it. You wouldn't dispute any of that, right? That's not attacking you. That's just a statement of fact.
So listen, but I'm happy to come on, but you've had 90% of the talk time. So can
Alex, it is my show. I just want you to answer.
Oh, I get it. Well, you can just say what you want about me.
I understand. Again, I don't want to have a confrontational interview. I simply want to ask you, as I say, you've built this big empire, and now the entire empire has been imperiled by losing this lawsuit. I mean, you wouldn't dispute that.
No. I have more than 15 offers right now on huge networks if my system goes under. Let me just explain something to you, and let's talk facts, okay? Here's a timeline of 10 years, 2 months since Sandy Hook. It happens the first year. I don't think it's staged. It becomes a huge internet thing that it's staged. I have a few debates. I have a few guests on. I cover it. I said, yeah, it could be staged. So much stuff is staged. Then I go 2+ years, 2015 into 16, never discussing it. This all came out in the lawsuit. And then they run against Trump. Hillary runs $30 million of TV ads showing edited clips of me saying synthetic event never happened. And then Trump still wins. And we now learned after the lawsuits, they hired a high-powered New York think tank PR firm to then make it a huge story. Tens of thousands of articles, thousands of newscasts about me in 2016, 17 about Sandy Hook. I go, whoa, those anomalies I heard from those professors and people were wrong. I think it happened. Nobody sued me. Go on Joe Rogan, apologize, do a whole apology tour because I wasn't sophisticated back then. I'm like, yeah, I think it happened. I barely covered it. Then they sue me once I apologize. They have a judge in Texas, in Austin, is as liberal as San Francisco, and in Connecticut, sue me. Then I give them all my text, all my documents, which they show in court, but say I gave them no documents. They default me. First time in modern U.S. history. I'm found guilty by judges, and juries then have hearings on how guilty I am. Then they have a false financial expert get up and say I'm worth $400 million. At the time they did that 6 months ago in that hearing in Texas, in that kangaroo operation, I had like $3 million in the bank.
Well, you say, okay, let me, all right, let me
but
jump
see,
in.
hold on, Piers, you're buying.
But you can't just keep talking, Alex. Let me just explain to you what I think.
Oh, God forbid I get a third of the time you get.
Well, you know what? It's my show. It's the way it works. On your show, you get 90% of the time on your show if I was a guest on your show.
You don't want to, I'm just telling you,
I
Piers,
just want to have a normal
I want to have a real
debate.
discussion.
Let's have a normal debate. I want to play you a clip. This is a clip of one of the parents from Sandy Hook, because you've talked about this at length now, Nicole Hockley. And I want to talk after this clip. I want you to just listen to what she had to say to me recently on the show.
He did his first broadcast saying that he thought this was a false flag when I was still in the firehouse and I didn't even know if my child was alive or dead yet. He started off within 2.5 hours of the shooting and has kept putting out video after video for year after year after year, and calling us all crisis actors, calling our children, either that they were never killed or they were never alive in the first place, that we're traitors, that we're treasonous, and that we're government shills. It's been very difficult. It's been easy to turn off some of it, but some of these people have been incredibly dangerous. And when he stokes this anger in his base, this fear, and then incites them to action by saying, we need to investigate this, you need to look into this more, they come at us. So part of it's just social media comments, which can be damaging. It's defaming, it's hurting your reputation. People, I don't know if I'm walking around who thinks I'm real and who thinks I'm an actress. It's damaging to my son's memory in terms of his life, his short 6-year-old life. It's damaging to my surviving son because I don't know what he's going to deal with going forward, but it's also scared the living daylights out of me. I sleep with weapons by my bedside. I've received death threats. I've received harassing calls and mail. I've had people send me pictures of dead children because they say, as a crisis actor, you have no idea what a dead child looks like, so let me send you this picture so you can see it. This is stuff that has really not only just been distressing, it's disturbing. And in terms of security, I'm just a mom. I'm just trying to look after my surviving son, run my organization, and make some good in the world. I didn't choose to be part of this. Alex Jones chose to tell lies knowing that they were lies, and continuing to harbor that lie and make it happen for his own profit.
What's your reaction to that woman who lost her son Dylan at Sandy Hook?
Total garbage. Never said her name. Only person's name I said was Robbie Parker. 30-something million views on YouTube. He was laughing. Everything suddenly started crying.
So your response to that woman's incredibly powerful,
so you're going to give me 5 seconds?
Account.
Well, this isn't a,
how can your first response be total garbage?
Well, I guess I can't do this interview. People have to go to Infowars.com later, and I'll respond to you. You're not letting me talk. I never said her name. Under Connecticut and Texas law, you can't sue somebody for defamation if you never said their name. I didn't do any of those things. I was on your show months and months after it happened and said it happened and said it was Prozac. I looked at both of the views and they clipped that out to attach themselves to me on air. I never talked about that woman. I didn't even know who she was.
You said it was a hoax, Alex. You said it was a hoax. You said it was phony as a $3 bill. You said the entire thing is a giant hoax.
I thought Jussie
Remember,
Smollett was
the White
fake.
House has been running the
fake.
fake Bin Laden raid. People just know there's a lot of fraud going on. You've got.
Here's what I'm going to say to you, Piers.
Wait a second, Alex.
Piers, let me talk for 5 seconds.
Let me finish.
You sent me a list of topics.
Let me finish.
You sent me a list of topics.
I'm going to come to
those.
those.
I said I'd come on, and one of them is Sandy Hook. I'm on for an hour. Let's talk about the Davos group.
Yes.
Let's talk about the
We're
war in
going to come
Ukraine.
to other...
Let's talk about internet censorship.
Alex.
Let's talk about the vaccines.
Alex.
When are we going to talk about other topics? Because they're attacked. They live off me. I didn't make money off Sandy Hook.
They don't live off you.
They got $73 million from Remington. They live off Sandy Hook. I don't.
Okay. Here's what I would say to you. Maybe one of the reasons that they have a problem with you and what you did is that you were saying on air things like you've got parents laughing, ha, ha, ha. Then they walk over to the camera and go boo, hoo, hoo. And not just one, but a bunch of parents doing this. And then photos of kids that are still alive, they say dead. I mean, they think we're so dumb. These were parents who were
I told you
these
that
were
I said
parents in the
Parker
grip
thing.
of unbelievable trauma.
Yeah, listen. And Madeleine Albright, Secretary of State under Clinton, was asked by Leslie Stahl in 60 Minutes that Clinton tripled sanctions on Iraq to kill 2 million people, 500,000 children. She said it was a good thing to do. She'd do it again. I didn't kill 500,000 children. I question all these events because many of them are provocateur or staged.
I understand that, but I also understand the
What about all the kids dying from the poisoned shots?
Let me just
What about
finish.
the
I also
CDC admitting it causes myocarditis and heart attacks?
Here's the problem, Alex. The problem is
if I deserve to die for questioning a mass shooting, then what happens to the big companies that sold these poisoned shots shots that weren't approved and weren't safe and didn't
Here's
protect
my question.
Us. What happens to them while you're, I'm the worst guy in the world.
Alex.
So Piers, hold on. I'm the worst guy in the world, right?
I didn't say that.
Listen, I told them in a deposition that back when this went on, and I started questioning it like 9 years ago, about a year after, when I said false flag, I believe they may have protected him. They may have known it was coming. Like Uvalde, 75 minutes the police stood down. I believe that was a real shooter. Real kids died. In Florida, at Parkland, there was a stand down. Why the police chief said, well, he thought he'd already killed all the kids, so he didn't want more death. That was in the news. That was in the Dallas Morning News yesterday. I'm questioning Parkland, saying, did they let it happen? That's a false flag. To say a false flag doesn't mean the parents are fake. I apologized on Joe Rogan before I was sued. I apologized on dozens of shows when they brought this up in 2016.
All right, but here's my question. Here's my question.
And then they went on the news and said I was currently sending people to their houses. Where is the video of me saying go to their houses?
Alex?
Where is the video of me pissing on their graves?
Alex?
It's not true.
No.
They're raising money on my name.
Alex, let me respond. I want to just try and get inside your head for a moment and see whether you have ever fully comprehended the scale of what happened to these families, because as things stand, I believe 20% of Americans, 1 in 5, believe that mass shootings like Sandy Hook are staged. A lot of that is down to somebody like you with your huge following, which you built up, consistently suggesting they're staged, including Sandy Hook. This is what happened to some of the families, okay? Erica Lafferty, whose mother was killed, has had to move 5 times since the shooting and avoids going to the grocery store because people tell her
they say
it was a... Well,
they didn't show any evidence.
Let me just finish. Then I'll ask you a question.
The judges found me guilty. That's
Alex,
illegal.
I know. Let me just finish. She said it got scary and more graphic. Things would be mailed to her house that were threats of rape.
The 500,000 dead Iraqis?
Jennifer Hensel and Jeremy Rickman, parents of 6-year-old Aviel, who was killed, set up a foundation for their daughter. Soon after, email addresses attached to the foundation.
What about the cops killed by Black Lives Matter?
Let me finish. We're flooded with messages saying Aviel didn't exist. That Hensel and others were actors and questioned why money was being raised from a fake shooting. In 2019, Jeremy Rickman, Aviel's father, killed himself. Friends called Hensel his wife, Jennifer, to tell her people were at the cemetery where Aviel was buried looking for evidence that her husband had actually died. David Wheeler, the father of 6-year-old Ben Wheeler, who died at Sandy Hook, detailed 2 instances in which people actually showed up at his home demanding to see Ben, insisting he was alive. He said people also pointed to a student film he made in college as proof he was a crisis actor. Robbie and Alyssa Parker, and you did mention Robbie Parker, who I interviewed many times and felt a deep affinity with, and you said he was laughing after his poor little girl was killed. But she said that Alyssa, his wife, said that the vicious comments on the memorial Facebook page honouring her daughter were so terrifying she couldn't remember much of her daughter's funeral. Mark Banston, the lawyer representing the Sandy Hook families, said there were people threatening to kill us.
You said one of your topics was Sandy Hook. Here's the deal. They showed no proof of that in court. The judge didn't let me defend myself.
Okay.
You just
Alex,
want to sit here and talk about Sandy Hook.
I want to
move on to other topics.
My question is simply this. When you hear about the impact on these poor families whose children, aged 6, were blown to pieces in a school, when you hear about the impact, do you have any real regret or remorse about fueling this idea that it was staged and hoaxed and they were comic actors?
You let me talk at all? Adam Lanza killed those children, not me. A Democratic Party PR firm looked at Trump, looked at me in 2016.
That wasn't my question.
Brought up Sandy Hook.
That wasn't my question.
I'm going to explain to you again. I'm going to say it again. The media took what I said out of context.
They didn't.
Years later, magnified it. Let me finish. To make a political hit point on me and on Trump, and they blew it all up and then said I was doing it. They have no proof I ever sent anybody to their houses. I didn't. I a few times questioned it on air. I became super famous.
You said it was a hoax and a fake.
To me. They've raised hundreds of millions in donations, 73 million from Remington. Now they're coming after the First Amendment. It's insane. And I told you I'd come on and briefly talk about Sandy Hook. You sent a whole list of topics. Now I want you to be true to your word and not a deceptive person, Piers. We have spent 24 minutes on Sandy Hook. I want to move on to the Davos group.
I just want you to answer the question first. Before we move on, do you feel... When you hear these accounts of what happened to these families, do you feel a sense of personal regret and remorse that your actions on air,
I don't feel as much regret as
a lot of people to think these people were actors and their kids didn't really die? Do you feel genuine remorse?
You let me talk for any?
Well,
500,000 Iraqi children starved to death,
no,
and Madeleine Albright did it on purpose. And said, no, I feel way less. No, I legitimately question Sandy Hook, and I stand by what I did.
You said it was a fake and a hoax.
You let me finish? Attach themselves to me to raise money and to claim I'm doing things to them I didn't do, to raise money and to try to take over my life, and no, I don't. I apologized before they sued me if I ever hurt anybody's feelings, and I'm supposed to apologize forever and ever in some communist struggle session.
I just asked you whether you feel regret and remorse. I asked you whether you feel regret and remorse for fueling this belief that Sandy Hook was staged and fake. That's the only question I asked you.
When you give an apology, which I've given over 150 times, you're done with the apology. Type in Alex Jones apologizes for Sandy Hook. You'll have it before they sued me, so I'll point you to that. You're so good at all your clips, but no, I'm not going to come back on your show in 10 years and you'll say, do you now apologize? If I sat here and slit my throat on air, it wouldn't be enough for you. I legitimately question mass events because of things like Operation Northwoods that called for staging mass shootings that didn't occur in the United States. Look it up, ABC News, Operation Northwoods. I came on here, Piers, to have a real discussion with you and ask for money. Imagine the biggest settlement ever, fentanyl, settlements for Oxycontin, settlements that have killed millions of people, and this settlement is way bigger. And they say Jones refuses to pay. I don't have $5 million, much less $1.5 billion. So when they say I refuse to pay, if I have 3 gallons of blood in my body, and they say we want 1,000 gallons, I don't have 1,000 gallons of blood.
We've got to take a short commercial break. Alex, we'll come back and we will talk about other things after the break. Well, welcome back. Alex Jones is still with me. Alex, we'll move on to other things. I looked at the InfoWars website tonight. You were leading several hours ago, actually, on the story which I addressed at the top of the show, which is about this ludicrous idea that the word field is racist. I'm sure there are a number of things like that on which we would have complete agreement. But I also found a piece on your website near the top today, which said the following: falsehoods have far-reaching costs in livelihoods and lives. Lack of integrity and conflicts of interest have led to an unprecedented institutional false information pandemic. There is nothing that dispels false narratives better than personal inquiry and critical thinking. So the next time conflicted institutions cry woeful wolf or vicious variant or whatever it is, we need to think twice. So very strong worded piece there about the danger of falsehoods. Do you agree with that?
Well, let me answer your question and we'll finish up the Sandy Hook thing. I wish that I wasn't misled by some of those professors and people that thought that it was staged. It was a very small part of what I did. I tried to apologize. I tried to settle. I tried to make restitution. And then they misrepresented. When I was in the Texas trial, you can look at this, they had one of the mothers on who lost her son. And I went on my show that morning and taped it before I went to court. And I said, I think she's real. I think her son died. I'd seen her testimony the day before. And I'm very sorry that Adam Lanza did this. And then she went on the stand and said, Jones attacked me and said I'm an actress. It's all fake today. And I walked over to her during the break and I said, watch my show from today. Your lawyers lied to you. And the next day she came up and cried and shook my hand. And Scarlett Lewis had said, oh my God, it's true. I saw you did say that. So there's a lot of manipulation here. Look, I didn't do this consciously. I think their children died, but I think they're being manipulated by groups. I wish I never would have said it. We do have to have guidelines. I have messed up a lot in my life, Piers. And listen, that's what I said, a love-hate relationship with you, and I sent you an audio message yesterday. I watched the intro to your show, and I was like, man, I wish I was as good as this guy. Because I covered the same stuff today, but the way you brought up them saying the word America is bad, and the way you pointed out that it's not by itself, that it's a cult that wants to grow language, I was like, that guy's a master of really understanding this attack on our freedom. And I wish he knew that I was a real guy, and I'm just learning.
The difference, Alex, honestly, the difference between us, I would say, is this. I have always strived, not always successfully, but I've always strived in my career to put a premium on accuracy and facts, because I think without that, you have nothing. I would argue, and this is your chance to dispel this notion, that over the years, you have deliberately and systematically used conspiracy theories, which I suspect you know are not true, to fuel interest in a large number of people who then go and buy your products, which you sell, which are a massive part of your business and have made you hundreds of millions of dollars. And I'm going to give you some examples collectively, so let me just read them out.
Hold on, everybody has sponsors and sells
I'll give you a
products.
chance to respond when I've read them. But this is some of the stuff you said on air, right? In 2017, you had to apologize after promoting the infamous Pizzagate fake story that a Washington pizza restaurant was the locale of a child sex abuse ring run by Hillary Clinton and her campaign chairman. After 9/11, you called it an inside job perpetrated by the US government. You said that chemicals in the water, which are put there by the government, are turning frogs gay in a gay bomb. You said Michelle Obama is a man. In a 12-minute video, you analysed footage of photographs proving that Mrs. Obama has a penis. You said that Robert Mueller, the former FBI director who investigated Trump's Russia ties, which turned out to be a fake story.
Can we hold on?
Was
Can we
demonic,
take each one of these?
Was a demonic paedophile and said that's a demon I will take down or die trying. He's obviously not a paedophile, and so on. So here's my point, Alex. Are you there? You keep flashing up your info. You don't need to promote InfoWars. We all know about it.
Listen, what I'm trying to tell you is,
on the front page of InfoWars,
you make all these charges,
Alex,
and I can't respond.
let me ask you the question I'm about to ask you. I read a piece on InfoWars all about the danger of falsehoods, right? The cost to livelihoods and lives, the problem with lack of integrity and a false information pandemic. Your website is promoting that thinking, that it's wrong to have false information put out there. And yet the guy behind the website making all the money is the guy saying all this stuff, which is obviously complete
you just
nonsense.
talked for 4
and here's
minutes.
my point,
Can I
Alex.
talk now?
You know it's nonsense, don't you?
You're scared to let me talk.
Your chance to respond.
No, I don't know it's nonsense. And if you took your time through all those points you just raised, I can back every one of them. There are more than 1,000 university studies from England to Australia to South Africa to Mexico to Austin, Texas, that atrazine is literally making male frogs gay. They don't want to have sex with female frogs, and their populations are plummeting and even becoming extinct. Boom. Then 9/11, I don't think radical Islam doesn't exist. There were criminal elements in our government that it came out even in the hearings that stood down and did nothing. So you rattle off
9/11 was not an inside job. Michelle Obama is not a man. Robert Mueller is not a demonic
let me
pedophile.
talk about Michelle Obama.
And
Let me talk about Michelle Obama.
Hillary Clinton
Let me talk about
didn't
Michelle
run a
Obama.
child abuse
Let me talk
ring
about
from a
Mich-
pizza
let me talk about
restaurant.
Big Mike.
These are all ridiculous lies.
Let
And
me
here's the
respond.
point, Alex. You're not a stupid
You just
man.
repeated them again.
You're not a stupid man.
I'm going to talk over you then.
You know these things
If you
are
don't let me talk, I'm
untrue.
going to talk over you. Let me talk. That is a transcript you have. I was playing a clip of Joan Rivers 2 months before she died with fire exploding out of her mouth in a surgery. She said, Michelle Obama is a tranny. Everybody knows that we already have a gay president. And I was quoting what she said, and I was questioning what people were saying. That's Joan Rivers. Now let's move on. What was the other one? What was the other one you were saying?
Robert Mueller is a demonic pedophile.
Robert Mueller is definitely... Okay, let's talk about Pizzagate. I didn't progenerate Pizzagate. It was in the WikiLeaks documents. A whole bunch of Aleister Crowley Satanism.
You apologize
and
because you promoted that conspiracy theory too.
No.
Here's my point, Alex. I don't think you really believe any of these things. I think you realized early on in your life that there was a lot of money to be made from fueling conspiracy theories, and you have made a ton of money from it.
I said Jeffrey Epstein 13 years ago ran an island in the Caribbean with kidnapped children. I said the Nexium cult was branding people 5 years before it broke. No, I had the sources and I had the guts. I lost viewers saying Sandy Hook might have been staged. I lost some of my reporters. That is not true, what you're saying. I don't sit there and think of a story I'm going to say. I've got too many stories here. And then say, oh, I'm going to lie about this thing. I said Jussie Smollett, despite the fact I was already sued by Sandy Hook, I said the day after it, before anybody else, I said, I think it's staged. I think at 2:30 in the morning, 22 below zero in Chicago.
I thought it stunk too.
Black guys walking around.
But here's my point, Alex. Again, here's my point to you. Here's my question for you.
I believe it.
You are a smart enough person, from interviews I've seen of you with Joe Rogan for 3 hours, you're more than smart enough to do a show where you genuinely examine stories like Jussie Smollett and you ask the right questions, as a journalist would do. But I don't think you are a journalist. And you're not certainly not a trained journalist, but you don't come at it like a journalist. You come at it as a commercial operator who's made a fortune from fueling conspiracy theories which are ludicrous. And to a point,
let me respond to that. You've said that lie. You've said that lie 5 times. Piers, you had me here. Let me respond to each lie you spew.
Let me finish.
Your goal is to spew lies.
Let me finish.
I'm going to tell you again. I'm not against capitalism, and if people earn money normally and naturally, that's great. If I sell $70 million of food and supplements and books and films, and we make $20 million off that, and I pay my crew and my bandwidth to pay myself a couple $1 million a year, that is accurate. But the idea that I have billions of dollars and the idea that I did these
I don't think you've made billions of dollars.
things,
I think you've made several $100 million, and some of the products included very false claims about diet supplements and toothpaste, which could be used to fight coronavirus. And you were sent a cease and desist.
No, all I said is that silver on contact kills all viruses just like sunlight. And I said vitamin D3 is an antiviral and vitamin C is, and it's a fact. And I also said, Piers, that the studies they'd already done with mRNA vaccines showed they didn't protect you and they erase your immune system, and you've had to apologize.
Well, actually,
no,
just to clarify, they do protect you from coronavirus. The difference was that a year into the pandemic, it emerged that the initial feeling that if you had the vaccine, you couldn't transmit it, turned out to be wrong. But they do
Any
protect
real
you.
vaccine
They do protect
actually
you, and in
protects
fact,
you. Hey, Piers,
millions of people,
Piers, you and
millions
others are
of people are alive today because they took the vaccine.
You're going to stand at Nuremberg too. You're going to stand at Nuremberg too. Did you get money from Big Pharma?
No, I didn't get any money.
All these other media people.
We're going to take. Listen. The vaccines work.
Did you get money?
The vaccines
Did you get money
work,
like CNN for pushing Prozac?
Millions of lives. However, let's take a short break.
No,
I want to come back with our final segment.
And
I want to ask you one last question in the final segment.
Infowars.com.
Welcome back to my final segment with Alex Jones. Alex, on January the 6th, the infamous January the 6th, you stood there riling the crowds up by saying, we declare 1776 against the New World Order. We need to understand we're under attack. We need to understand this is 21st century warfare and get on a war footing. And within several hours, that's exactly what thousands of people did. They went down from hearing you say that, and Donald Trump saying what he said, and they launched an unprecedented attack on the Capitol, the very center of democracy in America. Do you regret now what you said at that speech?
No, I don't. I'd had rallies with over 1 million people, 500,000 people. Before that, it's an information war, Infowars.com. We're in an information war. We were there to have a 10-day investigation of the Constitution. The Democrats have done it before, just a few years before, to look at what was happening. We were there peaceful. And then, Piers, I tried to stop people and did keep thousands from going into the Capitol, and I've been cleared in the January 6th. Look at the Reuters article on the FBI.
Just to be clear, do you denounce those who used violence that day?
Yes, I denounced Ray Epps telling the congressional committee that he orchestrated the attack, and I tried to stop the provocateurs in that operation from breaking in. We had 1 million people there. They tricked 1,000 or so to go in. A few hundred provocateurs broke through the police, similar to what we're seeing in Brazil. And so I'm on record there that day telling people don't go in the building and trying to stop it. When I say 1776, I'm saying try to take our guns, 1776. Try to take our free speech, 1776. It means political rebellion. It means an awakening. It means saying no.
Has one of the lessons that you've learned from this lawsuit with the Sandy Hook families, has one of the lessons been that actually truth matters? Have you learned that? Do you believe now that you need to focus on saying things which are true because consequences can be very serious?
You keep trying to act like it was a big part of what I've covered or that I made mistakes on purpose. The whole currency I operate in is the truth. And we're accurate 95% of the time. I made big mistakes. And when I make mistakes, we absolutely admit to it. I think you've done that yourself sometime. So here's the deal. Maybe in 10 years, you're still alive, I'm alive, I'm back on. You'll say, will you apologize now? I apologize if I cause any pain. I've already done it. It only makes them more rabid and attack more and misrepresent. I went on my show during the trial and said, I love you. I think you're real. I'm so sorry for your child. They went on the stand and said, I attacked him that day. That's all on record. And so
the problem is the reason. The problem is
the
damage.
political movement.
Alex,
They've
the problem
raised
is the
hundreds
damage.
of millions of dollars off their dead kids.
The problem is you did make millions of dollars from their dead kids. It's one of the reasons Elon
I did
Musk.
Not.
It's one of the reasons.
There was no marketing.
It's the reason.
You know what I make millions of dollars off of?
It's
My
the
number
reason,
one book.
It's the
on the
reason.
world selling stage.
Right. The reason Elon Musk has refused to let you back on Twitter is he won't let people on who trade off dead children. That's exactly what you did.
So Madeleine Albright kills 500,000, says she did it on purpose.
About
She's
you,
good.
not Madeleine
Alex
Albright.
Jones questions a mass shooting. I get it. I'm the worst guy in the world.
I didn't say
the whole
that.
Dying corporate media
I didn't
is good.
say that.
Alex Jones is bad, but here's the thing. Infowars.com lives. People can come to my show every day, 11 a.m. Central, and they can hear what I'm actually saying, Piers, versus what you're trying to put in my mouth.
Actually, all I'm putting into your mouth are things that have come out of your mouth.
No, you don't have footage of me saying go harass them at their houses. You
I
don't
do,
have
and I
footage
covered
of
the
me saying
Sandy
piss on their
Hook.
graves.
I covered the Sandy Hook
You
tragedy.
don't have any of that. You
and
have
all I
what
know is,
lawyers
Alex,
gave you.
all I know is for all your posturing,
Find the truth, Infowars.com.
when those poor families
Don't let Piers
were going
mind
through
control
the
you.
most excruciating pain of their lives, you took a massive amount of fuel and you poured it on the bonfire
about other
of their
events.
pain.
What about the Davos
And that is the
group?
bottom line
what about
with you,
the New
Alex.
World Order?
You deliberately
What about
spun a pack of
what about the
lies
global government?
designed to make the
What
families
about
of Sandy
the
Hook
human
suffer
trafficking?
worse pain.
What about the fentanyl?
And that, I'm afraid,
it's
for all
only
your
Alex
shouting
Jones, only the
and all your
independent. I'm the bad guy.
blather is utterly contemptible. And we both,
Hey, you're
I
never
think,
going
know
to get
that.
our First Amendment. And I'm glad you had to move back to England to live under your Islamic takeover. And when they're arresting people for being
Alex,
against transgenderism,
you once
don't
again
want freedom, Piers.
losing the plot. So now I have to say goodbye. But it's been good to catch up.
You said
Thanks,
we come
Alex
on.
Jones. Appreciate it.
Then don't be a liar.
Did you see Newsom on Hannity? Did you see how he did?
I didn't.
I think he did very well. I think
American Psycho, slick as hell.
I think he did. I think he did very, very well. If you're a Democrat, Newsom was 10 times more presidential than Biden was. And it's not even close, okay? So for him to have the audacity to go to Fox's Best Today, which is Hannity today, not Tucker, but Fox's Best Today, Hannity, he goes and sits with them and he hangs and he pushes back with Hannity. So from your perspective, you know, you made a comment earlier about Newsom. Is this the reason why these guys are asking the question? Are they kind of trying to corner Biden for him to step out so Newsom can go run? Is it going to be a Newsom DeSantis, Newsom Trump? What is this going to happen here?
Patrick, I'm so glad you brought that up because I have this problem with not hitting the most obvious thing. You're absolutely right. That's it. They're getting ready to take out the garbage with Biden. I think they'll probably kill him, or he'll die in his sleep, or he'll have
fall down some stairs,
or be drugged or whatever, or at least be in a coma very soon. And I've got very high level sources you got people dug in the Democratic Party. Roger Stone's totally dialed in. He was on my show yesterday, and he said they're crazy enough that they're thinking this is what Democrats are saying right now. Okay, Big Mike, Michelle Obama, and then VP Newsom or Newsom, but Obama is. He's the real president right now, third term, elected.
We have a video.
He's now coming back out and saying, oh, I'm involved now. So, yeah, they're getting ready to get rid of Biden. That's the only reason. Those reporters are all on a leash. None of them ever ask a question for the 2.5 years. Suddenly, they're all attacking.
Yep.
It's because they've been let off the leash because Biden was supposed to, like he said right before he won the election, remember he said, well, if I don't do what I'm told, I'll probably just develop some weird disease and resign. Remember that quote?
Yep.
He said it multiple times, letting them know, hey, I'm your man. Well, his brain was still there. Remember the deals then. But according to Roger Stone and other sources, and Roger's dead on, he talks to some of the high-level Democrats. Jill Biden is telling him, don't leave. She likes the power, and he's told them F off. In fact, now he's not even following Obama's orders.
Do you think so?
Oh, no, I mean, oh yeah.
Jill's in charge.
Jill's in charge because he didn't know who he is. I mean, she literally, remember he walked out of the White House, he said, my butt's been wiped. I was told by the NYPD and Secret Service a year and a half ago when he went, remember he kept showing up late and changing clothes like 3 times? Mm-hmm. That when he gets mad, when he goes in these weird, because they get him on speed and a bunch of stuff to roll him out and hope it's okay, and it's not now. But when he gets mad, he takes a big dump in his drawers. I'm serious, okay? You've got him saying my butt's been wiped. So that goes
Alex.
on.
He did say it. I saw the video.
Can we fact check?
Yeah,
so
let's see it.
Alex claimed that he said that he would develop. Biden said that he would develop some sort of cognitive disease and resign if he didn't follow the plan.
Let's see.
And here's the clip.
Let's see.
But all kidding aside,
The first lady to be told me she holds them for you.
yes, she does, but not with she and Kamala have become friends.
Yeah.
But all kidding aside, it's a matter of the thing. We are simpatico on our philosophy of government and simpatico on how we want to approach these issues that we're facing. And so I don't have, and when we disagree, it'll be just like, so far it's been just like when Barack and I did. It's in private. She'll say, I think we should do A, B, C, or D. And I'll say, I like A, don't like B and C. And it's go, okay. And I told Barack, if I reach something where there's a fundamental disagreement we have based on a moral principle, I'll develop some disease and say I have to resign.
Bingo.
We don't have that. We haven't, and we discussed at length.
It's your face.
Our views on.
Yeah, and Alex, have you because he said this multiple times.
But look how much he's declined in 3 years.
Oh, that's
I
horrible.
mean, he's a little daughter, but he is gone.
Yeah, but he wasn't even there
It's not when
then.
milk's
Yeah,
a
he
little,
wasn't there.
you know, when milk kind of tastes a little
You're
bad,
right.
but then later it's like cottage cheese and just you open it, ugh. I mean, he's now a rotting carton of milk.
And Alex, how many times have you heard him say, the president of the United States, hey, I can't, I got to get out of here. They told me I can't do this, or they told me I can't say that.
No, but he found that clip I forgot about. There's another one where he says, look, I'm not, if I'm not doing what they want, I'll just get a disease and resign. He said it at least twice. So he said it in the current context like a year ago or something. So
Rob, is this it or no?
This is the clip where
He says the
the
wiping.
president talks about his butt being
Go ahead.
wiped.
Go ahead.
What?
Must it be reconciliation?
What must be what?
My butt's been wiped.
A pathway for citizenship.
There needs to be a pathway for citizenship.
No, it's not fake. We got it on Fox.
Can we show? Wait, and you nailed this. You were talking about
What did he
Obama.
actually say?
Here's-
No, guys, I don't
let's
want to
not get distracted. I'm
I
asking
don't
the
want to get
question.
the guys
Let
in
me
trouble.
just ask the question. Here's the question. The question is, Newsom, DeSantis, Newsom, Trump, Biden, Trump, what's going to end up happening?
Well, I mean, Trump was 5-6 points ahead of Biden until he got indicted, and now he's like 15 to 20 in scientific polls. It's a spectrum. He's in a bunch of national polls of Republican voters. He is 57 on the low to 72 points ahead. I mean, the whole field, Chris Christie, all of them, your governor here, DeSantis, they are getting 30, 35 points. And then Trump gets all the rest. So, and the more they indict him, like I remember when they indicted him again a few weeks ago, they go, well, the New York indictment of Alvin Bragg, that made him go up, but this time people are going to turn on him. No, he went up like 5-10 more points after that. So I guess if they indict him like 18 more times, he'll have like 99% with Republicans. I mean, people know that they're telling him like. You got a dog, it's a sweet dog, but even if it's a Labrador Retriever, you start trying to take something away from it, it's going to tug a war with you. And they're telling you can't have Trump, and it's just the more they do it, the people are getting madder and madder, like, I want this, and it's just insane. So it's the unstoppable object.
Unmovable object.
Unmovable object comes into contact with the unstoppable force, and it just explodes. And so, I mean, they intend to indict him on January 6th for the electors. They're trying to cook it up. This is a 20-page article 3 days ago in Washington Post that I commanded the attack on the Capitol with Trump. Completely insane. Didn't even talk to Trump for like a year before that. Tried to stop people going to the Capitol when I got there. We had a whole stage booked with the Capitol Police and everything for him on the northeast corner. And we get there. There's no police, no one. They just left us high and dry and set us up. And now they have congressional reports that D.C. police were the ones dressed up breaking in and then getting the idiots to go in behind them. I mean, congressmen have said that. Congressman has seen, they're now releasing the footage of the D.C.
Are they going to succeed? Are they going to succeed to prevent him from running?
I mean, they're succeeding in a civil war right now in Russia. I mean, yeah, the globalists hijacked the most powerful country in the world with all our ingenuity and all our money and all our power, and the world's in deep trouble. And again, it's not like I'm saying China or Russia are good either. It's just a monstrous situation. And if people don't get serious and get out of their comfort zones, I think they're going to demonize him, indict him. And then I think they'll blow his airplane up. I really, at a gut level, believe they're going to kill Trump.
Who's this? Trump?
I believe the deep state establishment will murder him. I mean, I believe he's going to steadfast go through all this. He'll be He'll be 30 points ahead in the primaries. Nothing's going to stop him. And then they just, he dies of a heart attack because they poison him or they blow his airplane up. And I think, and Trump, by the way, has talked to Roger and others and said, I'm ready to die. I'm committed. I'm going all the way. So
you think if they, you're saying they're going to do that, they would have already done it? Like, why haven't they already done it?
Because that turns him into a martyr, and they'd rather assassinate the person. They saw what JFK did to him. I mean, this will be 50. I mean, look, they are not. The higher ups and some of their smarter ones are not stupid. They're like, if we kill him, it'll cause way bigger problems down the road. Don't do it. But before they let him get in charge and prosecute them, which Trump said he will, he goes, I'm getting in. I'll be destroyed, and you'll be destroyed with me, or they'll be destroyed. It's a death battle. This isn't like some cage fight with Zuckerberg. And everybody's like, oh, Zuckerberg and Elon Musk, biggest thing ever. Yeah, great. Two modern emperors, tech titans. When Rome was collapsing, they had emperors as gladiators. The movie Gladiator is actually, again, a composite of a bunch of true stories. That really happened. And the whole point is, while we're all watching this stupid stuff in the submarine and the gladiators, literally the president who I believe won the election, I'm not supposed to say that. He barely lost. Trump, now to have them put him in jail so he can't vote for him or whatever, it's just not going to fly. It's not going to happen. And so, but at the same time, you saw what Comey and others said on TV. Well, whatever we do, we got to stop him. Yep. He can't be allowed in because he'll put us in prison. And remember, you can pull this clip up. Biden said last December, like December 13th, as I played the clip last week on my show, he said repeatedly, Biden says we will not allow Trump to be president again. And he says, we'll use whatever we have to with law enforcement and the Constitution to make sure he's not president. And he just laughs arrogantly. He's like, people are like, hey, what about Hunter? He's like, it's just, it's lunacy. But time's running out. So they still have the power. They're still the executive in control. So if you're the guy with the doomsday button, you can hit it, you think you win, but you blow yourself up at the same time. Yep. So they've already destroyed themselves. The only question is, can they take us with them?
Alex, what do you say about some of the people that are saying the left is too calm during all this, and they're planning something? Let's just say during the election year, another pandemic is probably going to hit, which they've been warning us about that. Even the WHO, Biden, he said it. Biden said, and you can find that, Rob. And I quote: "There's going to be a second pandemic." It's like he's a psychic. There's an internet apocalypse they're talking about, or even like a staged alien invasion. Do you feel like something?
Well, you just said it. That's a great question. How do they stop Trump?
Yep.
He dies in his sleep as they poison him, or he naturally dies, which I don't think will happen. The guy's as strong as a horse. That Scottish, German blood he's got going there. And then, so there's that. And absolutely, a stock market crash, an EMP that knocks out the power for a few months. Oh, we can't have it right now. Another virus through the mail-in thing.
Keep us home.
In fact, the UN says imminent virus coming. Yeah, I think there's a lot of ways for them to skin the cat. But I'm telling you, these indictments aren't working.
They're not.
So you're saying, based on what you're saying it's still going to be Newsom Trump. Is that what you're saying? Like, come next year.
Newsom's the serious candidate, and who they now admit. You see him getting out of deep freeze, rolling him out, getting him ready. But they're thinking about the wild card. Obama has warmed to Newsom, and right now there's discussions. This is real. There's discussions of Michelle Obama as the president and Newsom, or should it be Newsom president, Michelle Obama vice president?
That would be, by the way, that's going to be tough to beat.
It's a powerhouse.
That's going to be tough to beat. So, what do you think?
They're both incredible men.
What are your thoughts on the
Alex, can I just?
I'm just joking. Joan Rivers made a joke about it too.
She did. Yeah, she died 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
What do you think about DeSantis? What are your thoughts on DeSantis?
I think DeSantis, when he was running his own show 6 months ago, was heartfelt, doing great things, standing up to stuff, really doing a great job for Florida. Then he started getting with Republican strategist Karl Rove and Jeb Bush, and they're now advising him. Now he's following a script, and he's not being authentic. And as soon as they indicted Trump went 30 points ahead of him. DeSantis needs to know he's being kamikazed into Trump, and that the system knows he's not going to beat him. And they're not going to let DeSantis have it either. And so DeSantis needs to understand that he should get behind Trump and reprieve himself. I mean, Trump's not perfect, but now that they're trying to take my right to vote for him, and the fact that he's got such balls in doing this, I would be a coward, because they'd come after me because of the support. I've been told, stop supporting Trump and all your problems will stop. I mean, I've been told that in mediations, okay? Not supposed to talk about that, but I mean, it's literally, stop this, back off, and we'll leave you alone, or you're done. I'm like, hey, at a certain point, I can't just roll over and be a coward. So you've made me be all in for Trump. I mean, I just can't do it as a man. I can't be told You know, I mean, down in Texas, where the mafia never did too well, because you tell them to come tell somebody there, I'm going to take over your business. Guy just pulls a gun out, you know, and shoot you. You may send more guys get me later. That's great. My kin folks are coming for you. So I just can't. It's not even like a macho thing. I can't be pushed around. I'm gonna die then. That's okay. But the point is, you're gonna die too. At a certain point, these guys got to figure out. You'll fire your musket, but I'll run you through. The Iron Maiden's, you know, first opening line of the trooper. You'll fire your musket, but I'll run you through. So,
Alex, let me kind of bring this in for a second. You've made some opinions, some claims, some thoughts, some jokes, some hyperbole, all that. My opinion, and then I'm going to ask it too. I don't think Barack Obama is running the country right now. My opinion. Well, I don't think Michelle Obama is a man. I don't think she was ever a man. My opinion. I don't think Gavin Newsom is going to be that dude that's running. He has done nothing but endorse Biden. Okay, I'm going somewhere with this, right? At the same time, I don't think they're going to kill Trump. I think he's going to be that dude on stage. I think he's going to probably be the nominee. We'll see what happens with DeSantis. We'll see what happens. I don't think he's going to kill in his sleep. I'm just, you know how you say sometimes you just got to face reality and see what's in front of your face. I think at the end of the day, it's going to be a Biden-Trump presidential debate. And then here's my question. Don't you want that? Don't you?
Yes, I'd rather that be entertaining.
Okay, that's my freaking point. Don't you want that? If Biden is as nuts, lost, delusional as people say, don't you want Trump to expose that on a national stage and prove everybody right?
But of course, but I don't, and they make it as a sick joke, let him debate a vegetable and then still steal it from him.
No, because they're going to debate, and then the world is going to see whether or not Biden is competent or not. Because you could say whatever you want about Trump, he hasn't lost a step. He still has energy. He's still there. Yep. Whether you think he's a criminal, whether you think he's a hero and a deity, he hasn't lost a step. Biden clearly has. But don't you want that? Don't you want that basically, that rematch to basically
100% would rather
don't
than
you
not.
Want,
well, let me just tell you this. And I said this before it came out, and he said it on Joe Rogan's show, that he's afraid the CIA will kill him, and they killed his dad and his uncle. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. doesn't want to give speeches out in the public now because he knows that's real. And let me tell you, Trump knows there's plans to kill him. And if they can get some crazy to do it, and plausible deniability, they will. And they shot Ronald Reagan, and then Hinckley Jr. Was having dinner with the Bushes in Colorado 3 days before. I mean, this is serious. Look it up, Denver Post. So this is
Rob. Look it up. Did you hear what he said?
What was it, Denver Post?
Hinckley Jr.
Well, it was Hinckley's brother and dad were having dinner, but he was also best friends with the Bushes, CIA. Hinckley's having dinner with Bush's week of Reagan being shot. Anyways, they let him out of prison recently. What I'm getting at here is that this is from real politicos. This is from Roger Stone. Okay, I mean the guy got Trump to run. Okay, and what I'm telling you is that they say you see all these puff pieces about Michelle Obama and Gavin Newsom and the rest of it. Biden could die at any time. I mean, he could just fall over. So I'm telling what real people are telling me. It doesn't mean they're totally right. Okay, and as for Michelle Obama, of course Michelle Obama is a beautiful woman, and of course, no, I'm serious when I say this. Of course, Joan Rivers was just joking. Have you seen the Joan Rivers clip?
Joan Rivers said it, and then she died, 2 weeks later?
A couple of months.
Because she was fucking 88 years old. Dude.
I don't know about that. Well, the timing is perfect.
Okay.
The timing is perfect. But can I say one thing?
Okay, Alex Jones, you've been called a conspiracy theorist. Meet your master right there.
Congratulations.
Meet your master right there.
It. Well, you just said that Obama, you don't think Obama's running the country? This was Obama on Stephen Colbert, the leftist hack show, 2 years ago. Can you play what he said about the presidency? Go ahead, Rob.
And what you know now, do you wish like you had a third term?
Be right back. 2 seconds. Yeah.
And I used to say, you know what? If I could make an arrangement where I had a stand-in, a front man or front woman, and they had an earpiece in, and I was just in my basement in my sweats, looking through the stuff, and then I could sort of deliver the lines, but somebody else was doing all the talking and the ceremony. I'd be fine with that.
I'd be totally fine with that.
Vinny, as a comedian, as a professional comedian, the number one Assyrian comedian in the world, you have the ability to decipher satire, joking.
Yeah.
Do you think he was actually coming out and saying, yes, this is my third term? Come on, man.
Adam, I think there's a little truth in everything, especially as a comedian. But let's just be honest with each other. Do you actually think that Joe Biden right now is actually making the decisions and tweeting and doing everything that he's doing? Be honest with me.
I think he has a team around him that is helping him make the decisions.
Making decisions. Have you ever heard in your life a president say, "Oh, I can't do this because they told me that I can't speak, or they told me I can't do this"?
Show me
I'm
the
going to get in
quote.
trouble.
Show me the link.
Rob, could you show?
Do I think that Biden is a strong president?
No.
Do I think he's all there? No.
No, not strong. Is he making any decision?
No, but when you say, wouldn't you like? Of course I'd like to see that.
Could you find that?
I'm just telling you, they are. Why do you think they've. Here's the key. It's just what Patrick said earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think they're allowing everybody to attack Biden now when they covered it all up before? Because now they want him to step down. The Democrat system is telling him step down. And they can create all this new energy and about who it's going to be. They're telling him to go.
We're going to find out if he actually is the nominee, because then that will be the inaccurate.
I mean, just so you know, and I'm not bragging, because you guys have dinner with high-powered people and talk to everybody too, okay?
We have dinner with guys like you, too.
No, but what I'm saying is, this is directly from inside the Trump camp at the highest levels and directly from inside the Democratic Party. So they do not want Biden. They are seriously talking about this.
As they should.
Yeah.
His approval
ratings. I'm not making a prediction. I'm not making a prediction. I'm saying they don't like what's going on.
Nobody does, Alex. Of course, his approval ratings are in the doghouse. He's 80-fucking-something years old.
Yeah.
Of course, they don't want him to run. Okay, but he's making the decision to run.